वर्णिवेशरमणीयदर्शनं मन्दहासरुचिरादनाम्बुजं पूजितं सुरनरोत्तमैर्मुदा धर्मनन्दनमहं विचिन्तये। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। बोलो श्री स्वामीनारायण भगवाननी जय। श्री ठाकुर जी महाराजनी जय। श्री हरि कृष्ण महाराजनी जय। श्री घनश्याम महाराजनी जय। श्री सद्गुरुदेवनी जय। श्री 500 परमहंसनी जय। Supreme Almighty, Adi Gurudev Swami Sri Sevit, our beloved Thakurji Maharaj, all the divine Muktanandiya Guru Parampara and their divine Sadgurus, Patmika to Liberation Pujapat Guruji, and all of you devotees, Jai Swaminarayan. Today we are going to understand the principle of Gungrahadrashti, which is described in the Vachanamrut. Not only any particular single Vachanamruts, but even many of the Vachanamruts. Sriji Maharaj himself has described the principle of Gungrahadrashti. So today we are going to understand what it is according to Maharaj's perspective and why we need it in our life, as well as how we can understand this principle according to today's viewpoint. So first and foremost, Gungrahadrashti, meaning we can also describe this topic as positive attitude, or we can say the attitude by which we can always pursue the others' virtues and do not try, even not by mistake, grasp any mistakes. That's the point of today's discourse, Gungrahadrashti. Before going to further ahead, let me do some activity. In this activity, choose the odd one out. So this is very simple one. Everyone can easily put out the odd one, meaning which is not like the others. So we can easily find it out. In picture number 1, there is a green rabbit, right? Yes, exactly. In second one, the pink, or you can say the red, whatever you can see on your screen, the different kinds of penguin. In picture number 3, all the other roses are white and only one is pink. So that's the odd one. So what we can derive out of this activity? By doing this activity, we can just understand what is our attitude is. Our attitude is always lead us to find out others' mistakes. Meaning everything is good and nice, but only a very simple, or we can say very minor thing which is not perfect. And everyone, not only you or me, but everyone has this tendency to find it out what's the imperfect thing. Just as for an example, even though the wall is painted in white color, and suppose anyone has make a black spot on the wall, no one can consider the majority part of the wall is painted with the white paint. No one is considered this part. But everyone try to see again and again and pointed it out the black spot on the white wall. The black spot was only like a 0.001% on the wall. But still everyone tried to point it out, and repeatedly they are watching only on those black spot. This is what our attitude is. Now we want to change this attitude. Why? Because our Bhagwan Swaminarayan, he does not like this attitude of grasping only bad thing or vices or the negative point. This is just an example given in this activity, but in our day-to-day real life, we are also doing the same thing. Meaning, whenever we came into contact with any santo or devotees, at that time, we always not focus on the other's virtues, but without any effort, we always, because of our tendency, because of our attitude, and this is by default in everyone's. So due to that, we always try to find it out anything that is not he is doing perfectly. If he is considered as a devotee, then even though a devotee performing puja, danvat, pradakshina, mansi puja, singing kirtans, even though he is doing everything, but still, what we say, he is doing everything, but still he is not matching with the others. See, we are not appreciate the other virtues. On the other side, we are finding fault in him. That's not liking to Maharaj. Why? Because Maharaj wanted to make us perfect. And if we want to make perfect, if we want to be a perfect, then we obviously find the perfect things from the others. Whenever we see the perfectness in the others, then and then we can get that virtue in our life. There is no any other way to be a perfect. So by this activity, we can understand we always tend to find faults within other devotees instead of recognizing their good qualities. This is what our attitude is. Now, in our practical life, we all have to introspect for our own self and try to find it out. Let me think for myself. I made this devotee. I went to the Mandir last Saturday, and let me think, on that day I have perceived only virtues or only good qualities from the devotees and santos, or I have perceived anything bad or like anything not proper things. Calculate how many good things you have appreciated or how many good things you have perceived, and on the other hand, in other list, count how many things, how many times and how many things and in how many devotees or santo you have find any mistakes. When we calculate all these things, then definitely we have data on that point, like our tendency, our attitude is to find faults in others. But if we change this attitude and if we cultivate this quality of Gungrahadrashti, then what happens in our life? Always we try to find it out what is virtues, what is good thing in others. And if we find it out, the good things, definitely our heart, our life will be filled with the good qualities. We will become a virtuous person merely by finding or merely by observing a good things in others. That's why Sriji Maharaj also said in many Vachanamruts Like, I do not like the person who always try to find faults in others or devotee, or who speaks ill of the devotees. In this way, many Vachanamruts describe these things. But let me try to understand this point in different way. How our tendency or how our attitude is. Let me see in the next slide. Yes, gain perspective via Harry Potter. Definitely, most likely all of you have read this book or have watched the movie. But in one of the book of the Harry Potter series, you may have find the mirror of Christ. What is that? What is that mirror? Is that mirror shows not the exact reflection, the object or a person who is standing in front of the mirror. This mirror is totally different from the other regular mirrors. This mirror is specially designed in such a way that not the person who is standing in front of that mirror, but instead of the reflection of that person, it reflects the desire of the person who is standing in front of it. I think you know probably more than me and understand this more than me, but just try to find it out how this affect our satsang life. Why I have told you the story of this Harry Potter? It's only because relation to satsang. In satsang, we also only see what we want to. We may think of others, ourselves as perfect, while others as flawed. Just as the Harry Potter, he itself stand many times in front of that mirror of Christ, and as he had a desire to see his parents, and he met his parents through this mirror. Why? Because he has a desire to meet his parents, and because of this unique mirror of Christ, it has a condition. It shows not the reflection of a person who is standing in front of it, but it shows the desire of a person who is standing in front of it. So Harry Potter had a desire to see his parents, and so he was watching, he was meeting his parents in front of, while standing in front of the mirror. So in the same way, just as Harry Potter's desire reflect from this mirror of Christ, in the same way our desire, our belief, our prejudice for a person, it reflects when we see the other devotee or other person. The person or devotee or a sant is obviously and definitely virtuous, because in the Vachanamrut Garda verse 24, Sriji Maharaj himself says, even though we can find more flaws, more faults, more mistakes, or more vices in a devotee, then at least one should think, even though his nature is not suitable to stay in the satsang, and still he is in the satsang, so there might be he had performed a great meritorious act in his previous life. So this sentence of Maharaj confirm us, like all the devotees and santo, they have their divine life either in this birth or in his previous lives. But still we are considering the devotees as their life has some kind of mistake. He has all these virtues, but still he lacks these, or even though he is doing this much thing, but still he has no idea, or he has no manner to behave with the others, or no manner to speak in front of others. In this way, we grasp the vices from the others. Why we are finding faults in others? Because we have that prejudice and like bad feelings, or we can say that kind of belief for the others in our heart. And what is inside our heart, that would be reflected from the others. So be pure to see pure. On the other hand, we can also say to see pure to be pure. We want to be a pure person, if we want to be a pure devotee, but how we can be? By only finding a good qualities, only by finding the others as purest. Even more than me. If we can understand at least this, then we automatically become a pure devotee. And moreover, this is very dangerous to find faults in others. Why? Because taking avgun of devotees may cause us to fall out of satsang. This is not only our perspective, our view, like we can see this danger, but Maharaj himself also says in the Vachanamrut Garada Antya 21st. Next slide. In this Vachanamrut, Maharaj says, I do not even like the slight of one who speaks ill of devotee of God in front of me. In fact, I do not enjoy food or water offered by a person who perceives flaws in devotees of God. If he does so, then even if he happens to be my relative, I still develop an intense dislike for him. So if we want to make our place in heart of Maharaj, then definitely we have to give up this swabhav or nature of finding flaws from the others. Because Maharaj says, even though a person who is a relative of mine, and still if he speaks ill of any of a devotee, then I do not even like the sight of that person. Not only that, Maharaj says, I do not enjoy food or water offered by the person who perceives flaws in a devotee. So Maharaj says he developed an intense dislike for him. So if we perceive flaws in the others, then Maharaj has intense dislike for us. Then no matter how much we are praying in front of Maharaj, how much we are worshipping him, how much we are chanting his holy name, Maharaj would not consider anything if we finding flaws in others. This is Maharaj Vachan in Garada last 21, chapter 21st. So by thinking for these divine words of Maharaj, we should be away from finding faults in others. Next, in another Vachanamrut, Maharaj says, if one desires to be happy in this world and also in the other world, one should refrain from finding faults in devotees. This is Garuda 2nd, chapter 40. If one desires to be happy in this world and also in the other world, one should refrain from finding faults in devotee. So if we want to become happy in this life, meaning as a devotee on this world, as well as after our death, if we want to be in the Akshardham, if we want to be enjoying Maharaj's divine bliss, then we must give up our bad habits of finding faults in others. We have to change our attitude. If we change our attitude, our altitude also will change. We automatically go higher and higher. We do not need to do more efforts to be higher. We automatically go higher and higher. But for that, we have to refrain from finding faults in devotees. Why Sri Maharaj repeatedly says this thing to us in the Vachanamrut? It's only because this is a great stay back for us for the satsang. If we want to be a higher position in satsang, if we want to be a place in the heart of Maharaj, if we want to get Rajip of Maharaj and his Satpurus, then we must try to imbibe the good qualities from the others. And if we try to find good qualities from the others, then and then we can change our bad habit to finding faults from the others. Why? Because Gunaditanand Swami says in his Vato, let me see in the Gunaditanand Swami's remedy. Here, Gunaditanand Swami says, when a flow of a devotee is noticed, then think of his virtues so that the thoughts of the flows are eliminated. And Swami gave an example, just as if 5 soldiers come to fight, and if we send 50 soldiers for fight with them, the 5 soldiers will be outthrown by the 50 soldiers. Similarly, there are many virtues, and by thinking of them, the few faults will be discarded. So this is only way to eliminate our bad quality of finding faults in others. Why? Because if we have one fault in front of our eyes, and if at the same time we think for the other many virtues remain in his life, then automatically the one fault we have noticed automatically discarded when we think the other virtues from the same person. That's why we must need to cultivate or develop this Gungrahadrashti in our life. We have to change our vision. If we change our vision, then we will definitely overcome this our bad habit of finding faults in others. And the another way to develop this Gungrahadrashti is 2 vital components. Others like, yes, Surat Bhav and Divya Bhav. These 2 vital components is like a all-in-one vitamins. Just as one a day or all-in-one, this different kind of like brands, but all have one things, multivitamins. If we take only one pill, then we will get all of the other vitamins. In the same way, if we have these 2 vital components, then we will definitely cultivate all the other good virtues in our life, including this Gungrahadrashti. Why? Because if we have a Surat Bhav with the devotees, if we have a Divya Bhav in Santo and Bhakto, then we will never find faults from them. Why? Because we understand them divine. They are divine. So how can be a flaw? How can be a faults? How can be anything bad in someone who is divine? If we have Surat Bhav in other devotees, if we have Surat Bhav with the Santos, then how we can find any faults in those Santo and Bhakto for whom we have Surat Bhav? Surat Bhav meaning we have feeling like affectionate feeling for them. And if we have that feelings, then how we can find faults in them? Just as in this world, one who has worldly affection for someone, then that person would never find any faults in that person. Even though he or she had many flaws, but still, only because he has hate, he has love for that person, no one finds faults in each other. In the same way, if we have a Surat Bhav with other devotees and santo, we will never find any faults in them. Moreover, Maharaj also says in the other Vachanamrut, by finding faults in the satsangi, we are also finding faults within God. So we should possess Divya Bhav not only towards God, but also by recognizing the good qualities in devotees and saints. This is also important things. If we find faults in any of devotees, and if we do not change this our attitude and every time or gradually increase this bad habit, then what happens? One day we find faults in the divine actions of Maharaj himself. Even though this present time Maharaj is not present in his human form, but still he is present in Satpurus. So if we are finding faults in devotees, then we definitely tomorrow, meaning in future, will find faults in Santo. And in future, we also find faults in Satpurus. Moreover, we also find faults in Bhagwan himself. Why Bhagwan has created this? Such kind of question arises in our heart. This is a bhav, or we can say avgun, in the form of Bhagwan. So, better to not create this avgun grasping attitude. And if we remain avoid of these qualities, meaning to finding faults in others, then we will definitely not finding fault in Bhagwan or Satpurus. So this is must for us. And in conclusion, Maharaj also stated in another Vachanamrut, also Gungrahadrashti Swami says in his Vato, Vachanamrut Garuda 1st, chapter 28, when a person is likely to progress in satsang, pure desire steadily flourish within him. Day by day, he sees only virtues in all satsangis. So this is also what we can say the hint of a person who is progressing day by day. One who wants to make rapid or regular progress in satsang, then that person must have to cultivate this quality of Gungrahadrashti. If one has such vision to finding good virtues from the others, then that person definitely go ahead and ahead in satsang. He definitely rapidly and regularly progress in the satsang. He become more powerful, he become more devoted, he become more near to Bhagwan day by day. And Gungrahadrashti Swami says, if a person bring 100,000 rupees daily but talks ill of satsang, I do not like it. And even if a person only eats and sleeps, yet talks positively about the devotees of God, then I will arrange for his service. That is my nature. So this is what Bhagwan's nature is, and Satpuru's nature is. So even though we can do more thing, meaning even though we are performing seva for the whole day, even though we are offering more money to Bhagwan and Satpurus, even though we are doing more bhajan, meaning chanting like 100,000 times a day, even though we are performing more fast, meaning fast without water on every Ekadasi day, that doesn't matter if we find faults in other. Because Maharaj and Satpurus, they do not like this. And even though we are not doing much more fast, we are not doing like more bhajan, even though we are not be able to giving more money to Bhagwan and Santo, that doesn't matter. But if we have attitude to finding good qualities from the other devotees and santo, then Maharaj and Satpurus would consider us as the richest devotee in the satsang. So, try to develop this Gungrahadrashti. And how we can get these good qualities? We have the ultimate process. In next slide. Step 1, see good qualities in others. Step 2, obtain Gungrahadrashti and portray unity. Step 3, always try to please devotees, saints and Satpurus. So, in first step, see good qualities in others. This is the basic thing. Whenever we go, meaning in particular any places, any mandir, anywhere, try to find it out what is good thing. Try to find it out what is good qualities in others. Try to find it out what is good thing in this event. Note it down. And whenever you are free, try to read it and think on it. How I can apply this thing in my life. This is first step. Second step, obtain Gungrahadrashti and portray unity. Meaning whenever we have this habit, meaning in first step we are trying to obtain good qualities from the others. Meaning we just want to see good qualities in others. And if we practice this step 1, and definitely we will be on step 2 after some time. Meaning our mind set in such a way, whenever we go, whenever we see, whoever we meet, we always find good qualities from the person, from the event, from the place. Meaning in first step we try to cultivate the habit, and in step 2 our attitude automatically change and our attitude become Gungrahadrashti, meaning our vision change and our sight always seek for the good qualities from the others. And in step 3, always try to please devotees, saints and Satpurus, meaning then after we can be able to pray for getting Rajipo of Maharaj and Satpurus. And if we have this third step develop in our life, then we will never have any single thought for any abhav or avgun for the others. So these 3 steps, this is the ultimate process for getting Gungrahadrashti in our life. So if we want to cultivate this quality, then we must have to follow these 3 steps. First one is good qualities, meaning see good qualities in others. Second is obtain good Gungrahadrashti and portray unity, and always try to please devotees, saints and Satpurus in step 3. So let me pray to Maharaj and our Sadgurus. Hey Maharaj, hey Sadguru, please protect me from being finding faults in others, and please show me your blessing so that I can develop through these 3 steps Gungrahadrashti in my life. By saying this, my humble Jai Swaminarayan. Shri Ghanshyamprakashdasji Jai, Shri Patim Sridharam Sarvadeveshwaram Bhaktidharmatmajam Vasudevam Hari Madhavam Keshavam Kamadam Karanam Swaminarayanam Neelakantham Bhaje. Shri Ghanshyamprakashdasji Jai.